Okay, make sure you have a pen and paper ready. Make notes of the things that you must remember. Listen again. Remember, this is a video, so you can rewind and repeat as you need to. Be prepared to pause it for activities or for noting something down, and make sure you do the activities. Okay, we have 4 starters on screen now, so give yourself about 3 or 4 minutes to have a go at these, and then unpause it for the answers. Okay, the answers for these. The first one was 4 out of 11 because it has to add up to 1. The second one, C and D, would be the center there, the intersection, so 5 and 9, so 2 of them out of 7 possible answers, 2 out of 7. The probability of picking a yellow is 0.2 because, again, just like the snow question, these all have to add up to 1. And finally, since there's a 1 in 6 chance of getting a 6 the first time and 1 in 6 chance of getting it the second time, multiply it together to get 1 out of 36. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at Venn diagrams again, but with using set notation. So we're going to start with a question about 6 students. And we're going to organise them according to whether they have black hair and whether they are female or not. So if I was doing this, my first set, students with black hair, would be Chris, Dawn and Fred. They all have black hair, so my first set is C, D and F. My second set would be female students. Well, Beth, Dawn and Eliza are all female. Now, if I then wanted to sort them into other groups, such as students with black hair or being female, I could combine these and get C, D, F, B and E. So 5 out of the 6 students have either black hair or are female. One of the students, however, overlaps between the two because Dawn is both female and has black hair. Now, the 6 students we're talking about are what we call the universal set. They're all the people that we're going to sort in the first place, and we use that little squiggle symbol there. It's a Greek letter called xi. You don't need to remember its name. Just if you see a squiggle like that, that means these are all the things we're about to sort. I could also, instead of saying my first set is students with black hair, I could just call that set X. And my female students I could call set Y. Now, because this is maths, we don't like using words, we can use a symbol. And this symbol here that you can looks like a U is our union, okay? And that says that X or Y. So anyone who belongs to X or Y, we use that U-shaped symbol, we call it union. You don't need to remember the name as long as you understand that it means or. And similarly, for the overlap bit, we use a symbol that looks like this. It's the same symbol but upside down. We call that the intersect because it's the bit that's in the middle of a Venn diagram, but you can just think of it as an and. So at this point we've got a few new symbols. We've got this one up here, which just means all the things I'm going to sort. I've got set X and set Y, and they could be given any letter. I've just chosen X and Y. This shape here, this symbol means or, basically, and this symbol means and. So I'm just going to do this first one here, and then you're going to have a go at the other two. So students with short hair is my first set. My second set is female students. I'm going to use this same set here. So this same group up here I'm going to sort. So students with short hair are Andy, Chris, Dawn and Fred. Female students, Beth, Dawn and Eliza. Students that have either short hair or female, remember or is this combined, this symbol that means combined, it's this U shape? Well, actually all of them. All of them have at least short hair or are female. The overlap is that one person that's female and has short hair, Dawn. I'd like you to try and do the same thing. Work out who belongs to each of the sets, and then try and work out your combined OR group and your overlap AND group for each one of those questions. So pause it, have a go, and then unpause it. Okay, we should have had Andy and Eliza having blonde hair, and Andy, Chris, and Fred all being male. Therefore, if I want the combined list, I'm just going to list all of those out. I'm going to have A, E, C, and F. It doesn't matter what order they're in, by the way. It's typical to put them alphabetical, but you don't have to. And males with blonde hair, that's just Andy. The final group, people with red hair, was Beth. Glasses was Chris and Eliza. So people with either red hair or glasses, I'm going to combine the list. Beth, Chris, and Eliza. And there is nobody that has red hair and wears glasses. So that's just left blank. The most important thing to take away at this point is recognizing this OR symbol and this AND symbol. If it's OR, we're just going to combine all the list, making sure not to repeat any. If it's an AND, it's got to be any that appear in both sets. And that might be blank occasionally. Okay, so here is just a shorthand of this. And this question here, I've used as an example, and it's numbers instead of people with coloured hair. Okay, so we're much more likely to be dealing with numbers because we're a maths subject. You don't have to remember these three names, but you must recognise the combination one that's an OR, this one that we often say and then this symbol at the bottom. Because we can't even be bothered in maths to say not, we have this little dash here, which means not. So if I have a group that's A, everything not included in that list would be not A. This is our universal set, and then we have elements. They make up the sets, okay? They're our lists. So in a question like this, if I wanted to take the data we have here and combine them, well, all the ones that are in both A and B, and we use, remember, sorry, A or B, my apologies, we use this symbol. 1, 4, 8, 9, and 12 appear in both lists. If I want the AND symbol, the only number that appears in both would be 4. And numbers that don't belong to A, well, if we know that A is 1, 4, and 9, not A must be all of the other numbers. I'd like you to try and do these for me. So here is my universal set, all the numbers that have been sorted. Start by listing out all of the numbers that are even for set A and all of the numbers that are square for set B. Combine them for your OR and then list out any that are in both for your AND. So pause it now and have a go at that. Okay, so if you hopefully have managed to do that, our even numbers are 2, 4, 6, and 8 from that list. Our square numbers are 1, 4, and 9. Our OR, so A or B, we combine those lists to get 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, and 9. The 4 does appear in both lists, so we don't have to write that twice. A and B, I only want numbers that are in both lists. Well, that would just be 4. And the final one is not B. So I take the list that I've got for B, 1, 4, and 9, and just write every other number that isn't those. So 2, 3, that's a mistake there, my apologies. Not 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, have another go at this one for me, please. Pause it while you do, and then unpause it. Okay. So our multiples of 5 are 10, 15, and 20. Our multiples of 4 would be 12, 16, and 20. A or B would be those 5 numbers. A and B would be 20, and not B would be every number that isn't 12, 16, or 20. And I've taken all of these numbers from my universal set, all the numbers that I've been asked to sort. One more to try here. Okay, answers for this are there, there. There's your list for A or B, A and B, not A. Okay, so I've made up a universal set here, just the numbers 1 to 8. Set A has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and set B has 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we can represent this on a Venn diagram. So for a Venn diagram, the universal set is represented by the rectangle that you always draw. The rectangle is all of the numbers are going to be here. My left circle, which I've labelled A, will have all the numbers that belong to set A. And obviously my other circle will have all the numbers that belong to set B. And in the intersection here, I'll have the numbers that belong to both. So 1, 2, and 3 only are in A. 4 and 5 are both A and B. 6 and 7 is just B. And 8, don't forget that one, sits outside the circles because it's neither set A nor set B. And we can use the same notation you've just been using from a Venn diagram. So the location where they overlap, that's the A and B. Okay? If I want A or B, like we've been doing, that's any of the areas in any of the numbers that are in either circle, doesn't matter which. And not A, as I've shown here, is all the areas outside of the circle for A. So here's A, and I'm just interested in everything that's not in those circles. And remember, this is our and, our or, and our not for the last one. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is you're going to get a few multiple choice questions. So for each one, pause it as soon as it comes up, pick which you think is shown, and then unpause it. I'll give you a few seconds on each one. So here's our first one, and it is B, because it's the circle that has been labelled B. So pause it now and tell me what's been highlighted here. Okay, this one is A or B. I want everything that is in either circle A or in circle B. I don't mind as long as it's in one of the circles. Okay, this one is circle A, so it's A. And the final one of these four is that one, A and B. It has to be the numbers that belong to both, or whatever else I'm sorting in my Venn diagram. Okay, some harder ones now, including the not rule. So what is shown here? Make sure you pause it each time and then unpause for answers. Okay, this one is not B. I'm interested in everything outside of the B circle. So it's not B. Okay, pause it for this one. This one is not A, because it's everything outside of the A circle. Pause it. Okay, this one is slightly trickier, and it's this. I'm interested in everything outside of this circle, so it can't be in that circle, but it's also got to be inside the B. Okay, so it's this area here. So not A, but also it has to be a part of B. So you should be able to guess this one. Okay, so this one is A and not B, because I don't want anything in the B circle, so it can't be here, but it also has to be in the A, so I'm interested in that bit. Okay, on screen now you can see basically just a summary of all the different combinations you might get. Okay, just be very aware of all these different versions. In each case, I've highlighted in green the area that would be given by the expression at the top. You don't need to remember these, you don't need to copy them, but they're there for you to refer to. Okay, there are 5 questions on screen now. Take your time with them, and if you need to, you can unpause to get an answer so you can check as you're working. Mrs. Smith has sorted 24 pupils according to their families. I have an S set, people who have sisters, the B set, people who have brothers. Each one of those numbers represents a group of people. So have a read of these and try and answer them. As I say, unpause it for an answer if you want to check as you go. Okay, the first one, the blue area, are people who had at least a sister. They might have more sisters. They may have a brother, because some of them are in this intersection. The next question, describe the region not S or not B, are people who don't have a sister or don't have a brother. How many students are in not S? So numbers not in blue, so 12, the 8 and the 4. Now these last two are asking you to work out probabilities. So the probability of picking someone at random who is S and B. So you're looking for a sister and a brother, so that would be the 5 in the middle, out of the 24 pupils. Okay, so the P in front of the bracket means find the probability, so you need to work out how many people satisfy those sets and then do it as a fraction. This one, not S and B, so no sisters and having a brother, are the 8 out of 24. Remember, you don't have to simplify it because it's probability. Okay, here is another question I'd like you to give a go. Sort the numbers 1 to 10 first. Odd numbers in the O set. The T set are multiples of 3, our 3 times table. For question 1, you could just shade the diagram very quickly. You don't need to do it perfectly. Okay, so the answer to question 1, shade in the region, there's a multiple of 3 but not an odd number. Oh, sorry, I've included the answer, so you should have had 3 numbers in the odds, 2 in odd and even. There's only 1 number that belongs to the multiples of 3, and 4 numbers that are neither odd nor a multiple of 3. Okay. 3 but not an odd number would be that part. Describing the region O or T in words would be an odd number or a multiple of 3. Work out how many numbers are in O dash or not O. So not odd would be 5, the 1 and the 4. The probability of O and T, 2 out of 10, is this middle part. And the probability of O and not T, 3 out of 10. This 3 here. Okay, so here on screen we have a Venn diagram. I've already sorted the numbers for you. And for each, I want you to find the probability of choosing at random something from D. probability of choosing at random something that's from not D, C and D, C or D. Okay, so the answers for these. The first one, probability of D would be 2, 3, 5 and 7, so 4 out of 10. The probability of not D, therefore, would be all the other numbers, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 10 total. C and D would just be the 2, so 1 out of 10. And C or D is anything inside either circle, 8 out of 10. On this one, the whole numbers 1 to 12 onto this diagram. Set E is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12, even numbers. And set F is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. So you start by sorting all of the numbers 1 to 12 onto the diagram and then work out the probability of these 4 sets. So pause it, take your time. I would unpause it to check you've got your Venn diagram right before you move on to the probabilities. Okay, your Venn diagram should have looked something like that. And the probability of choosing something from E is 6 out of 12. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers in the E set. Not F is also 6 out of 12 because there's my F. So all of those numbers in that circle leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left over. 6 out of 12. E and F is 4 out of 12. It's the intersection. And E or F, 8 out of 12. It's all of the numbers in the circles. Okay. Make sure that you have submitted your work to your teacher. Well done.